New at 10, for the first time, 4 civilians are preparing to climb into a Dragon Crew capsule on top of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket for the ride of their lives. The history-making mission will blast off into orbit Wednesday. Elon Musk calls Inspiration 4 the first step in making the dream of space accessible to anyone. The mission is financed by pilot and entrepreneur Jared Isaacman. He purchased all 4 seats, 1 for himself, 3 for total strangers. One crew member is a childhood cancer survivor and physician's assistant now at St. Jude Children's Hospital, Haley Arsenault. One crew member simply won a lottery, Lockheed Martin engineer Chris Zembrowski. The 4th crew member, an online contest winner named Cyan Proctor. They all share a common love of space and a desire to see the science fiction of routine space travel for the masses move closer to science fact. And something else the crew has in common, some ties to the Rocket City. Huntsville resident, former NASA engineer, and author of the book Rocket Boys, later made into the movie October Sky, Homer Hickam, is following this mission closely. He says the Inspiration 4 crew is breaking barriers, and he is thrilled to see it happen in his lifetime, and maybe just a little jealous.
I mean, if anybody has an empty seat on any of these things flying today, I'll be happy to get in it and sit down and put on my seatbelt and say, let's go.
Homer Hickam still has the bug. He was 14 when the Russians launched Sputnik in 1957. He's been a space junkie ever since, from building his own rockets as a boy to his long career with NASA. He's traveled to space only vicariously through the astronauts he trained, and he really lights up when he talks about Inspiration 4.
They are just wonderful young people. They are very enthusiastic about this mission.
He's even coined a new term for them, amateur astronauts, because they're not paid by a government agency. And he's very proud of some of their connections to Huntsville and Space Camp, where he sits on the board.
Jared Isaacman, who is funding this venture, is a Space Camp Aviation Challenge graduate, so we're proud about that.
Haley Arsenault is from Memphis, right down the road, and Chris Zembrowski also has a Rocket City connection.
He is a former Space Camp counselor. So we have 3 out of the 4 have a very close connection to us here.
Earlier this year, Hickam met the 4 at Space Camp. He gave them copies of some of his books.
Because they're going to be up there for 3 days, and they might want to spend a little time reading.
And another special and very unusual gift. Hickam is an amateur paleontologist. On a recent trip, he unearthed a rare find.
So I decided to give each one of them a portion of this fossil as good luck, and it's known to be very, very good luck. It's called coprolite, and it's actually T-Rex poop.
Don't tell Elon Musk, but somewhere aboard that Dragon Crew capsule, tucked under a seat or slipped into the spacesuits, are 4 small baggies of fossilized feces. We've come a long way from the days of test pilots risking their lives on prototype rockets. Launches are more routine, space flights are safer, and more comfortable. Hickam feels we're definitely on a trajectory toward more ordinary folks in space.
Over the years, I've had so many young people write to me and ask me how they can be an astronaut. And depending on what age they were, I gave them the usual thing with NASA. Well, you need to get at least a PhD, and you need to apply and keep applying and go through certain wickets in order to become an astronaut. But I would often amend my response by saying, but by the time you're old enough, I hope you can just buy a ticket to go into space.
Obviously, we're not quite there yet, but Hickam, always aiming for the stars, is hopeful.
I hope that we'll see ultimately like an airline or a space line that will take us into space anytime we want to go, or to the moon or anywhere else. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Inspiration 4 lifts off Wednesday night. The launch window opens at 7:02 Central Time. At this point, the weather looks good at the Cape. Hickam, by the way, has some advice for any amateur astronaut. Don't spend too much time doing somersaults in midair and playing with your food. Look out the window, he says. That's really why you're up there. By the way, his new memoir is called Don't Blow Yourself Up. It's the story of his amazing life after October Sky, including what he calls some crazy stories from his time with NASA.